I can tell you there's nothing extraordinary about me. What has been extraordinary about my relationship with God has been God, and the way that He has come after me and has delighted in me and has danced with me, how He has protected me and how He has provided for me. I came to Christ as a child, and in some ways that seems almost ridiculous to see a young child come and surrender at 6, and that there's that level of intimacy that began there. But for me, it was an opportunity to choose life over death. And God quickly went from being a savior to being a father. And in that transition, I learned so much about what it was to be His child and to be protected, and what it meant for Him not to keep me from experiencing some of the pains and the pitfalls of coming up, but to know that He was going to come after me no matter what. He never left me alone. I can tell you about stories from when I was a kid that, a little girl being scared of the dark with every reason to be scared of the dark, and to growing up and being an adult and still having memories of being scared of the dark in my 20s, and finding that there was such peace in remembering that God was my Father, and that there was this relationship that He came after me with that would define how I communicated with Him. He wasn't just this God on a hill who talked at me, and it wasn't just about reading the Bible and just having it be words on a page. It was truly about that relationship. And I remember the night that He called me to be His child, and that was a life or death moment for me. And it wasn't, I don't ever remember being taught that it was heaven or hell, and it was definitely at a time where it was that fire and brimstone kind of preaching, but it was an opportunity for me to choose Him and health. And from there, it was learning to respond to Him as Daddy. And in that, I learned that I was precious, and that I was beautiful, and that it was okay for me to be loved and sought after, and it was okay for me to be with friends and to be healthy and to want and to desire things, because He created me that way. And as a result, I've been able to walk into various portions of ministry. I started out in teen ministry, and it was an amazing opportunity for me to work with students, and I learned more from them than I'm sure I ever taught them. But it was an opportunity for me to really learn how to show people what it meant to be in relationship. And then years into that, the Lord called me into women's ministry, and I went kicking and screaming. It wasn't a place that I wanted to go because I didn't want to abandon my students. I felt like we had a relationship and I understood where they were, and it was a good, forum for me to be in to communicate, and I enjoyed it. I loved it. But after a period of kind of hiatus, coming out of that to make sure that was really what God wanted, and that He wouldn't change His mind, I surrendered to women's ministry. Being able to come back into ministry and discover that all along it was women, and that it was where we were headed, and that He hadn't made some grandiose mistake, because it certainly felt like He had kind of gotten lost in the plans. And it's been an absolute joy to get to know women and their hearts, and to see that, to help them see that they were created for more, and to be on the other side when a woman actually sees herself for the first time the way that God created her. Words can't describe.